alright? My name's Paul, I've got autism, and I make random videos based on my version of autism and the way my head works, and I stick the videos on the internet in case you fancy giving them a watch. And I hope you're doing alright. Before anyone gets the hair off because I'm filming whilst I'm in my car, which is a big no-no in England, not allowed to do this, let me just explain. I have paid attention to the highway code, I have paid attention to everything that I'm supposed to do, and I'm not doing anything that I'm not allowed to do. So my phone, for instance, like before I set off, sorry, I'm getting distracted, I've got a learner driver in front of me going about 10 miles an hour. Before I set off, I put the phone into camera mode. I recorded before I was even driving. I'll edit once I've finished it all, and I'm going to be looking at the camera less than I will look at the sat-nav. You know, I've actually not touched it. It's hands-free, and that's the thing that they go on about. Make sure you're not touching anything apart from the stuff you're meant to in a car whilst you're driving. I'm like, all right, I'm not touching anything. Look, well, hands are on the wheel now. That was just a momentary moment to show you I had nothing in my hands. But why am I in my car? That's the question we need to get to the bottom of. And the reason I'm in my car is because I get quite a lot of emails from people asking me about traveling. You know, being autistic, solo travel, and all the sort of fears that surround it and everything that is a problem for people. You know, and I can only tell people theoretical things because I work away for a living. You know, so I'll say, oh well, I always have to stay in the same type of hotel, and I have to make sure that, you know, I've planned my trip 1,000 times over just in case I can't go one way, I'll go another way. But that's when I'm inside this country, and that's for work. So when I get asked questions like, what about solo travel as an autistic person when you go abroad? You know, all I've ever really done is like package holidays, like where you buy the holiday, and it includes your flights, your transfers, it includes your accommodation, and that's it, you know. Oof. Sorry, there's a few speed bumps there. But what I've not really done is travel, if that makes sense. Like, I've never just gone, right, I'm going to buy these flights, I'm going to buy this hotel, and I'm just going to go and see somewhere. But I've decided to, because there seems to be a lot of people who are held back by anxiety, and I absolutely understand that. So I'm going out on your behalf, you know. Over the time I've had the channel on YouTube, you know, people have sent little bits of monies and thanked me for things, and you know, and hey, I'll never not appreciate that, because I still just think I'm that random guy who doesn't even deserve to get an audience of one person, you know. So I will always appreciate that. And what I've done with the money that people have sent is I've paid for this little trip. So I'm going to Barcelona. And I want to, this is not going to be me walking around filming myself on a selfie stick telling you all the amazing things to go and visit in Barcelona. It is not going to be one of them at all. It's probably going to be more me now driving, talking about the fears and the anxieties, and on the way back talking about whether they were justified or not. Because, you know, I am fearful. I'm in the car now driving to my mum's house because she only lives a mile away from Manchester Airport. I'm going to go and park on her drive, walk to the airport, and hopefully the rest falls into place. But it's still nervous, you know. Like, I was explaining to someone that when it comes to travel, it isn't the destination that's the problem, it's getting there and then it's getting back. Because all of my anxieties and fears, you know, yes, I don't like busy places, you know, yes, I don't like too much noise, yes, I like to know I can get a retreat and hide somewhere if I need it. But a lot of my fears are about the airport. Like, my entire stress now, it's not going to be driving to my mum's house. I drive all the time. But it will be getting in the airport. So walking through the airport door and walking out the other side. All that middle bit is just nothing but fear. Because, like, if you were to take trying to find the flights, for example, so I went onto Skyscanner because I do like that website. You know, you just say where you want to go, say the times you want to go, and it'll just search all the low-cost airlines and find where is best that you want to say you want to go. And that's how I've ended up in Barcelona. It was actually quite a cheap flight. The only thing I've not gone cheap on is the hotel. You know, I'm not staying in the Ritz or anything super duper fancy, but I didn't want to stay in a hostel because I didn't fancy getting murdered. I don't know how people can stay in hostels. Like, how can you just go, you know what, I think I'll just sleep in a room with 9 other strangers from around the world and hope that they don't murder me in my sleep? How do people do that? You know, and I know I'm such a light sleeper that one of my big fears was I hope I don't find somewhere where the walls are paper thin, where you can almost hear someone changing their mind. You know, so it really took quite a vigorous process to try and find somewhere that I could stay that would be suitable as a little above a bare minimum standard, because I've not done it before, and I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for people who ask the question about solo travel and autism, because hey, if it's justified to not do this, then I'll always back you up. But if I take some pleasure out of this, then I'll also report back on that. You know, obviously Barcelona aren't paying me to do this. If anything, you've paid me, because, like I say, good people have been kind enough to donate money, and I've thrown it all into doing this trip. So it's not like I've gone off and bought myself a sports car. Not that there was enough money to buy that, but, you know, there was enough to book the flight and book the hotel. So the money that you've given I put back into the channel. But yeah, the flight, so I'm flying with a company called Vueling, Spanish low-cost company. And the low-cost companies are crafty because they make the flight cheap, but then make everything else expensive, or a way for them to up the money. So I've got a bit of nerves and a bit of fear, because the luggage allowance, I didn't buy any, because you're allowed an under-seat bag that's no bigger than 40 centimetres by 30 centimetres by 20 centimetres. And I've got a backpack which is a bit bigger than that, but it can squeeze in. And like, for the week or two leading up to this, it's all I could think of was like, well, what if they're really strict on that baggage size? You know, what if I say, well, look, my bag might be bigger, but it can fit into the luggage space. You know, like, if you're 6 foot or if you're 7 foot, you can still fit through a 6'4" door frame. You know, you just got to duck down. So I was coming from the angle of, can it just fit? But you know what? The nerves got the better of me, and I ended up buying this backpack, which is 40 by 30 by 20. But it's actually a little bit smaller. So it's 40 by 25 by 20. And it's big enough. You know, I've managed to pack 2 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of boxers, a pair of trousers, 2 tops, a plug as an adapter in case there isn't like a USB wire, which reminds me, I need to take the USB wire out of my car when I'm done, otherwise I can't charge my phone. And I have got a selfie stick in there, or the NASA stick as I call it. Just in case I do manage to get some space in Barcelona, I can do little catch-ups as I'm not walking about, but, you know, if I find a little place to hide to talk to you, let you know how I'm getting on. I've got my passport, I've got a travel toothpaste, travel toothbrush, a body wash. I've got a rain mac just in case, because the weather was reported to be bad, but now it looks like it's good. And then I've got a smaller version of a bag because I don't want to walk around with a backpack. You know, so that little bag, that 40 by 25 by 20, it's actually packed quite a fair bit in that I need, which is good. So hopefully the flight and the baggage allowance, hopefully those fears are alleviated a little bit now. There's obviously concerns with the hotel, but like I said, I did go a little bit better. So I'm staying in a hotel called Hotel 232, which is a couple of miles away from the centre of Barcelona. So, hopefully, because it's not in the centre, it might just be a bit nicer. There was good reviews, I was checking Booking.com, I was checking TripAdvisor, like doing the rounds to make sure that I'm not doing myself out of somewhere. And it also said it's got air conditioning and soundproof rooms, which is what I was looking for, because I am the lightest sleeper on the face of the planet. So hopefully that's allayed some of them fears. I did do an online check-in as well, so when I get there, all I'll have to do is pay the tourist tax when I give them my name and hopefully get a key. The only thing which might sound weird is the hotel room doesn't have windows. And I don't mean the operating system on a computer. It doesn't have any windows, because what's crazy is I got this place for about, I think it was €120 a night, which is expensive. But like, if I was to get a room with windows, it was like €450 for the 2 nights. I'm like, I'm not paying double for a window. So in my mind, it's like, I'm not going to get woken up by the sunlight coming in. I'm not going to be hearing the noise from outside. It's actually a bonus that there's no window. But I will show you the room. That's if the plane gets there and doesn't crash. But that's just my realism talking. How do those big things stay in the sky? I'll never understand that. How people can just accept planes are up in the sky flying about and we don't, think about that when they weigh what they do with humans on it. It's just insane. But it should be okay. When we talk about preparation, like for my version of autism, I'm constantly prepping, and I always make sure I've got a plan for a backup plan and all sorts, and it never ever ends. And what I noticed is I was on YouTube watching videos of what to do and where to go in Barcelona, but I wasn't that bothered. I'm not interested really in looking at the cathedral. It's just another building. I'm not bothered. I'm more interested in knocking about the Gothic quarter, like with the thin streets and the weird shops, and head down to the port, because I told my manager I'd take a picture, because he used to work on cruise liners. So I said, I'll snap a picture and send it you. So now I've got to get there, because that's about 6 miles from my hotel. But it gives me stuff to do, so I'm going to buy. So this is it. I was sort of studying what to do. So I've studied the network system. Like, I could draw you Barcelona's network system. I've paid attention to it that much. But you can get this ticket while you're over there called the Hola Barcelona card, and it allows you on the tram, the metro, and the buses. And it's like for 48 hours, and it's about €16, and you get unlimited travel. So I'll get one of them just so I can get the bus, because my knee hurts, doesn't it? Don't get me started on my knee. 3 times I've been to the doctors and they still haven't pressed send on an email. It's an absolute disaster. So I'm going to have to get the bus to a lot of places, but I'm not going to use the Hola Barcelona card to get from the airport to the centre, because I'm going to get the Aerobus. Check that Spanish out. Because that gets me from the airport, and there's about 4 or 5 stops en route, and one of them is at a place called Gran Via, and my hotel is 0.8 miles in a very straight line from that stop. So it's like, cool, I will get off the bus there. But I've forgotten what buses are like. I haven't been on a bus for ages. Like, the last time I was on a bus, you used to press a button on like the bars, on the back of your seats, and that'd let the driver know you want to get off. Is that what they're still like? I've got no idea. So the worst comes to the worst, I'll get dropped off in the centre, and it's nearly a 2-mile walk. So, I've seen it, I've figured it out, I know where I've got to turn, and luckily where I'm staying, it's in the very perfect sectioned grid system of Barcelona, so everything's in squares, in blocks, so you can't really go wrong. But yeah, still got some fears. I was up this morning at 6:30 because I couldn't stop my mind racing, because I need everything to go right. And like delayed flights get delayed, flights get cancelled. If any of that happens, I'll just be back in my car and going home, and this will never see the light of day. because I'm not messing about when I'm only there for a short period, because I'm flying out today. Like right now it's 11:04. I'm flying out at 13:55 to get there for, I think I've got to add an hour or add 2 hours. I've not even paid attention to that really. And then I'll get where I need to be. But yeah, the biggest fear, well, sorry, I was in the middle of telling you something and then got distracted by that number plate in front of me. I don't know if you're like me, I just make names and words out of number plates. And like in England, for those who aren't, our license plates generally have 3 letters at the end of a license plate, and I always try and think of words that fit. It's a stupid game I play when I'm by myself. I'm not used to talking to someone. So yeah, I'll fly out today, 13:55, and it's Wednesday today, and then I'll have all day. So I'll do a stayover. I've got all day there Thursday, and then I'm coming back around lunchtime on the Friday. So it's only a short trip because it's a practice. It's to do for this. It's not for me to go and go, oh, I love travel. I want to get into it. I do want to get into it because as much as I need my recharge time, I also feel these days I don't just need recharge time, I need escapism time. I need to go somewhere where nobody knows me, where I can be anonymous and just blend in with the crowd and just be forgotten, and nobody knows me, nobody knows where I'm from. Like when I go in that hotel tonight, if they expect me, which they won't, because I'll just be another guy coming in to get a room, are they going to greet me with, like, buenos tardes, ¿qué tal estás? Or are they just, are they going to go, he looks English, all right, mate, are you here for the night? People don't know where you're from. People don't know me, and it might sound weird, but I really like that. So it's not just recharge I need anymore, I need to escape now as well. And I've had a really hard time in work recently, which is why I've not really been doing any videos. And this is something I feel like I need, a bit of escapism. So yeah, like I said, tomorrow I've got no plan when I've got a full day in Barcelona. I know there's a place next door to the hotel which does coffee in the morning. So I'm going to go there and get a sandwich for breakfast or something. But there's also Popeyes. So for those of you in America, you'll be very familiar with Popeyes. Love that chicken from Popeyes. The advert. And I haven't got that where I live. I don't even think it's in England, but around the corner from my hotel, there's a Popeyes. So I'm going to go and get some of that. So I'm going to Barcelona to try American fast food, which is not what you're meant to do, but hey, we're all different. I don't need to see the tourist attractions. I just need to see the weird stuff. I need to do what I want to do. That doesn't change. So yeah, the anxiety, the biggest anxiety I've got right now, just to let you know before I sort of sign off for this bit, is when I get to the airport, I haven't got luggage. I've just got this backpack, which is, just got my clothes in. I've got my passport, el pasaporte, right there. I've got my wallet with my dinero in it. So I'm only ever used to going to an airport and putting luggage in. You've got to queue up and you get your boarding passes and all of that. Whereas I checked in online and someone told me I can just bypass all that now and I can just go straight to security. So I've got my boarding passes in a pass wallet on my phone, and there's 2 passes to go out and 2 passes to come back. And the pass to go out, one of them's got a barcode and the other's got a QR code, and I don't know which one I need. So I just hope when I get to the airport it's straightforward and it's obvious. I hope the computer that you scan it on can read my phone, because I've got a cover across the screen, and I'm like, well, what if it doesn't recognise it because there's an extra layer of plastic or whatever between that? And what if I hold up a queue, and what if I can't get through? What if they tell me off because I haven't got a paper boarding pass? And you really start getting yourself frustrated and wound up, and these are the things that would stop me from doing this. But luckily for me, like I said, work has been absolutely manic recently. I'm still on great terms with my boss, still like my team, still love my job in a way, but there's just been this project I've been involved in where this third-party company have been nothing short of a nightmare. And I've just been involved in it, getting 50 emails an hour, just it's just been absolutely manic. So because I don't feel like me, I still feel like work mode Paul. I still feel masked. I still feel angry. I still feel bothered. You know, I've got that work rage and frustration still pumping through my veins. So even though I'm anxious about this bit that's coming up now, I'm also not bothered. It's kind of like I've got that rage to force me through rather than living unmasked where the anxiety would stop me doing it. So yeah, that's it. I don't even know how far because I've not got my sat nav on because I'm talking to you, but I've got to leave this rolling now until I pull up and then delete the rest of it because I'm not allowed to touch my phone, and I do obey the law. So I will catch up with you wherever I am next. Just on airside now. It's absolutely manic. I don't know if you can hear it, but I've just had to sort of stand out the way. Check-in was a bit too easy. Like, I just walked up, scanned my phone, and now I'm waiting for a plane. It just seems like more should have been done. I did get stopped at security for a while though. That was a pain because I had toothpaste in my bag, and they just seemed to think it was a bomb or something, so I had to wait for about 20 minutes while they scanned it and swabbed it. So I'm glad they did that, because otherwise it would have been a bit more of a pain. But now I'm just playing the waiting game. You know, I've just bought some chewing gum so my ears don't pop on the plane, so I was clever about that. I did have to go back and get my phone wire because the phone wire was missing in my bag, and then I walked through to airside and see I could have just bought one anyway. But I'll spin the camera around so you can see the busyness. So there we go. I mean, that's duty free, just everyone milling about. It looks quiet, but if you could hear the rabble that's going on in this place, it's madness, and there's nowhere to sit down anywhere. But I won't be getting anything to eat. Just extortionate. I don't know how you can justify paying so much. But anyway, all I'm doing now is waiting for the plane. I'm still waiting for a gate because that opens at 1 o'clock and it's just before. And then once that's done, I will be able to head to the plane. Just thought I'd jump back in and do a quick update. So many people here with fake boobs and fake lips, and guys with like lines shaved in their heads. They all look the same. They're all going to the same place. They're all the same type of people. I don't know what's going on. But I'm just waiting for the plane now. They've already started calling for the boarding, but this is one of the bits I don't understand. Like, why on earth does everyone stand up and start queuing for the plane? Like, it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be on that plane, but if I stay in the queue, it means I get on the plane first, which means I'm waiting longer. That doesn't make any sense. So I'll just show you. Like, you can see everyone just already queuing up, just waiting to get on the plane, which is just over there, Welling. But I just don't see the point. Like, what is the point in getting on the plane first and waiting the longest? No idea. Anyway, I won't be able to do any more of these until I get there because I feel really weird doing this. So I'll check in when I'm in Barcelona.
Finally found the hotel. It's really dark, it's quite gothic style. It's quite good. It's probably why you can't see me. I'm just going to check the room out. So this is the room. Let's turn it. Find a light. That'd be handy. All right. So there's me. Hello everyone. Not a bad little room. I thought it'd be much smaller because they said there was no windows in here, but looks like there's windows behind here. Probably don't go anywhere though. No, they just look at somebody else's room. Let's have a look at the bathroom, wherever the light may be. It's got the toilet, that's useful. Me again. And a decent sized shower. Alright, I think I'll be alright here. But let me just show you this little bag that I bought for my trip because I was really paranoid about my backpack not fitting. So I bought this little bag, let me zoom out. And the belt was also in the bag, but this is 40 centimetres by 30 by 20. And I managed to get in there a small bag, a raincoat because the clever people told me it was raining and windy and it's 21 degrees and glorious sunshine outside. That's annoying. T-shirt, pants, socks, boxers. All these little zip compartments, and then there's a little zip compartment at the bottom as well where you can store your goodies. And there's another room over there. I've already shown you a bathroom, but there's also another bathroom over here. Let me show you. So the other one's a shower room, and then there's this one, which is a bathroom as well. So it's not bad. It's actually quite a nice hotel from what I've seen so far. It's just a bit ropey. Get in here. So let's have a seat and I'll have a chat with you. So if I was to watch a bit of my video back from this morning when I was driving in the car on the way to the airport, which is probably not long ago for you at all, as I was driving, you know, I was feeling a bit more, right, let's just get this done. But you know what it is? What I've noticed, it wasn't anything about the actual, you know, you have to go to the airport to get a plane. I get that. They don't just pull up outside your house. It's people. It was people. People did my nutting. It was so frustrating, like getting here because of people. I forgot kids existed, I've got to admit, because obviously I haven't got them. And there was one in front of me. And look, if you're a parent and you've got an autistic child, I'm not dissing you if you put a tablet or a phone in their hand as a way to, you know, give stimulation and help them out and all that. But, you know, for other kids who would be better with a colouring book, give them a colouring book. The people in front of me, again, this entitlement that people have in them. So there was the dad, a kid, and then the mum. And like the kid had a tablet watching Peppa Pig as loud as you like on the plane. Parents didn't care. And then the kid wasn't even watching it because it was watching TikToks on the dad's phone. And then the seats in front of them was the same setup, a dad, a kid. And what I noticed is when the kids catch eyes, it makes the parents talk. And they're like, oh, how old's yours then? Like, oh, 20 months. And oh, you know, I'm like, it'll have something in its hands and the other kid will try and grab it. And they're like, oh, it doesn't share. It doesn't share. And I was just sat there laughing at myself thinking, I have these exact same conversations with George the dog. You know, like, it's only if George takes a liking to someone else's dog and they run off playing, do I then speak to the dog's dad. And then, you know, we're talking about how old the dogs are, and then if someone throws a ball and George gets it, he's gone. And I'm like, oh, sorry, he doesn't share. So it's just funny how, you know, humans talk about kids and dogs the same way. But then I landed. The plan was to film a little bit to say hello. You know, I made it, I'm safe. Not that you'd know at the time of me doing it, but it was just so busy. It was so busy. And then by the time I got out, I just wanted to find where you get the bus, because I went and got the Arrow bus, which was an easy enough process once you found the terminal to get it from. And I'm glad I watched a video which showed me sort of a walk through the airport because it was accurate. So I was like, oh, I'm glad that was accurate. I'm glad I did that bit of scouting. Paid for the ticket. I got on the bus. A Spanish junkie got on the front. Like, she sat right in front of me, and she's just, dithering away. She stunk of weed. She's like on the phone, like sending picture messages of marijuana and like gifs of people sniffing lines. And I thought, I know where she's going. I shall for a good time. In her world, not mine. I got off the bus. It was cool because I had Google Maps on my phone because I needed to get off at Gran Via Burrell, and I did. And across the road, there's no rules here. If you're on a moped, I don't think the traffic lights apply. People just don't stop at them. You have to dodge and weave like you're on a game show, like Ninja Warrior or something. So I was quite surprised to see that Spain, like the cars stopped, but people on bikes don't. So that was weird. Speeding, beeping all the time. It's pretty manic. Every shutter that you walk past is just full of graffiti. I did have a plan to stop and have a beer on the way because, why not? When in Spain and all that. But every outside terrace, just everyone smoking. And you kind of forget that because in England it's like people can't smoke indoors anymore. They can't smoke in designated areas and things like that. So it's quite weird. There's a bit of a culture shock, I suppose, that everybody is smoking here. Like I say, it was ropey, so I've zipped my pockets up because I watched a couple of videos about scams and it's like just get zip pocket trousers. So I've made sure I've got those on. But one good thing about this room, apart from little free sweets for no reason and I don't know, little milks, I guess. I'm not buying from the minibar. There's a very expensive little minibar list. That's where I'm staying, U232. But it's got a safe and the safe is free. I've only paid €4.90 tourist tax, €4.90, not 490. So that's obviously good. But the little safe is free. So I'm going to bang the passport in there. I'm going to put most of my money, my wallet, cards, all of that stuff in there, and then just take €20 out because I need to go and get something to eat because I realised I haven't eaten today, even though I've been up since 6:30 and it's now, I was just looking for my phone. I don't know, let's say it's on its way to 6 o'clock as I do this in the evening, so I need to go and get something to eat. Popeyes, it's going to be Popeyes, I've got to admit. And I haven't really got a plan for this evening, I've got to admit. I just wanted to get here because I wanted to spend tomorrow here. But as far as journeys go, the landing was perfect, the takeoff was terrible. But for everything I despise about travelling and going to places, Barcelona is just busy. Busy. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head. I can understand why people say pickpockets are everywhere here because there's just so much going on all the time. Like it's madness. So anyway, I'm going to go and get food and I will report back in when I've got something to report. A bit of a weird one. But I'm just outside Popeyes. I've got my drink, I've got my food, and everyone's like proper staring at me because I ordered a takeaway. And there's like 3 of the staff, now there's 1 at the door. I think maybe if you order takeaway you're not allowed to sit outside. And I am. And it's like they're on a mission to catch me, like open the bag. So I've got the bag with me, which is here, Popeyes food and the drink. I want to eat it, but I don't want to get busted by this guy. Let me see if I can show you him. See what I mean? Just stood there like staring like you better not eat your food. But anyway, what I've decided to do is instead of getting an alcoholic drink, I've decided to get this fast food. And this is going to sound stupid, and it can sound stupid, that's fine, but basically today, one of the other reasons I wanted to come away is because today is my my best friend's birthday, and he would have been 40 today, and I was going to have a beer to toast him and celebrate his memory. But every Saturday we used to
get a McDonald's. So it's not quite a Popeyes, but we used to get a McDonald's. And, we did that for years. And, as I've told you on the channel before, my best friend passed away at 32. And he would have been 40 this year today. And I've got to be honest, I've been really low about it for the past couple of weeks. Because my birthday's a week before his. And it's a tough day every year, but especially when he would have been 40, because, the chances are we would have been doing this together. So, might not be the same as having a beer, but it's a Coke from Popeyes. So cheers, Mike, wherever you are. Just familiarising myself where the British consulate is. You just never know what's going to happen, do you? I've just had my Popeyes, that was decent. Not worth the hype, got to be honest. It was like KFC but spicy. And then I realised when I was in there that I don't actually speak Spanish, so they're talking to me and telling me how much it was, and I'm just looking at them like an idiot, so I just acted like one. Still 20 degrees, it's just gone 7 now. And as you can see, I'll flip it. It's just manic. It is just busy. It is constantly busy. Like, I don't think, what is it, New York, the city that never sleeps? This is the city that's always about to have a car crash or have someone on a moped wrap into a pedestrian. So I'm going to go and grab a beer and figure it out from there. Right then, thought I'd just do a little reporting at the end of the first day. Got my Popeyes, as you saw, and then I just knocked about for a bit. I went down a few streets, did 15,000 steps, and I'm sat here nursing my knee thinking, why is it so sore? 15,000 steps will do that on a torn meniscus. It's just a weird city, it just never calms down. And the one thing I found probably the most weird thing here is there was this place called Turris, and it sells fresh bread. And there was queues outside. It was 8 p.m. at night. Who's buying fresh bread at 8 p.m. at night? You buy fresh bread to have through your day. But people were there, like almost banging the door down, like, give me a fresh loaf. I want a French stick in Spain. I don't know, I mean, maybe it's just me, maybe that's something they do over here, but, why would you buy a fresh loaf to take home and then go to bed, wake up and it's not fresh? Don't know. But yeah, I was wondering why my knee hurts, and I checked my phone and I've done 15,457 steps, and I'm not doing any more. So what I did want to report back in on, apart from moaning about fresh bread, is I did have a plan to buy a bus ticket. I think I mentioned I was going to buy a bus ticket to get about the city, whereas now I actually didn't mind, as much as, like I say, the knee hurts, I didn't mind walking through the city. So I've got a very strange and different plan tomorrow, and I'm just going to walk all the way from the hotel to the Gothic Quarter, from the Gothic Quarter to the beach, La Playa, and walk back. So that'll be, I don't know, 10, 12 miles. So I'm going to do as much as I can until I can't do it anymore, and then I'm going to have to give in and go and get like single tickets on metro lines or something. But I figure if I do that, I won't feel like I have to then do something in the evening, and it'll obviously take me to the centre of Barcelona, which I've not seen yet, and then it'll take me from there down Las Ramblas, which is the place you're meant to avoid at all costs when you're looking to buy anything. Get to the Gothic Quarter, check out those weird narrow streets, then go down near the beach. Why not? One in Barcelona. Anyway, it's time for bed, so I'm going to go, and I will talk to you when I get up tomorrow. Good morning. This is the first time I've had to record anything, because I wasn't going to record in the room. And I thought what I'll do is I'll get up, I'll go and get breakfast, and make my way down Las Ramblas, just go and have a nosy. But honestly, like, I slept terribly last night because I couldn't figure out the air conditioning. Again, you know, my Spanish is poor, so I couldn't figure out what the air conditioning was telling me, even though I know it's up and down arrows and pictures of suns and frost. But it was freezing. A polar bear would have needed a coat on. Honestly, it was so cold last night. I just couldn't sort of get comfortable and deal with the temperature, so I've had a really bad sleep. But I got up today, decided not to buy that bus ticket or the tram ticket, and I've just walked. Now, I have had something happen which is very related to autism. And that's the fact that I haven't eaten anything yet. And I haven't eaten anything because I can't figure the places out. You know, it's not like a normal restaurant at home. Like, you're walking past places at 8 in the morning and they're drinking beer, you know, and eating noodles. And I think, well, sorry, I got distracted. I've just seen someone rollerblading. I've not seen someone rollerblade since the 90s. This place is mad. There's just so much going on. But yeah, who drinks a beer at 8 in the morning and has noodles with it, like some Asian noodles? So that was weird. So I was walking past a lot of places and not really being able to figure it out very well. And then when I was walking past some of the what looked like cafes, there was just no seats because they were busy. Then again, because the Spanish is poor, you know, that's also a bit of a nerve factor of walking into a place and going, "Oh yeah, can I have some? Can I have a cappuccino and a croissant?" Because the problem is, apart from, like, I've just walked down Las Ramblas, which is like the main tourist vein of Barcelona, and that's the only place I've seen that sort of does bacon and eggs for breakfast. Everywhere else is a croissant or a dry cheese and ham sandwich. It's not very appealing to me, so, you know, I've still not eaten or had a coffee, which is weird because I have at least 2 coffees by now, you know. I've also been trying to find public bathrooms. Can't really find any. But I think they're €1 to go in there, so the plan would have been to find a cafe, go to the bathroom in there, whilst I buy the food and the drink. But I'm at Port Vell now, probably don't pronounce it like that, and I'm just looking over at the yachts in the marina. Why anyone would want a yacht, I've no idea. It's never been something high on my agenda, like, what are you doing this weekend, Paul? I'm just gonna go and sit on a huge floating device in the sea. What for? Don't know, to get seasick. You know, I've got no idea why people do it, but it's just, if you've got too much money, you need things to buy, don't you, I suppose, so that's what people are doing. But this place is a bit, not to forgive my cough, but this place is a bit mad. You know, for someone with autism, it's good for the fact that you can just disappear even amongst the crowds. There's so many different nationalities, so many different things going on. You know, I've already had a homeless person eyeing the bag up that I've got on. So I just turned right around and faced him directly, as if to say, "Stop messing about, mate," you know. And he did, he stopped messing about. But I walked down this street. This is just a sign of how mad this place is. I'm just walking down this random street, because if you go off the beaten path, you do find a lot of very different spots. And there was this shop that sells taps, just a random shop selling taps, and I thought, who's that for? You know, it's still in a tourist region. No one's coming to Barcelona going, I think I'll get a new tap for my bath. Then there was a taxi driver, like literally a shop over, stood at his car door just urinating in the street. Not bothered, just going for it. Then there's these big waste bins on the side of the street, and there's a guy's legs hanging out of it because he's obviously in there bin raiding to see if there's anything of value. And next to that, a Ferrari. It's just weird. But for autism wise, for the update, I'm doing all right. I'm actually doing all right. A lot of the fears, which I'll talk about on my drive home, you know, such as the plane and things like that, they weren't as bad. You know, now I've slept on it or lay awake struggling with air conditioning, thinking about it, it's not been as bad as I originally anticipated. So onwards and upwards, my friends, and I will check in with you soon. Just heading to the beach just to have a look. Don't ask me why, but walking down these streets where it's more like people's houses, I just feel more relaxed here than walking about the big city. The thing is, once I get like one block over, it's going to get manic again, because that's where the beach is, La Playa. But I don't know what it is. I just seem to appreciate the everyday living, which you don't see when you hit the main tourist parts of Barcelona. So there is a main road I should have stayed on, but I just veered off to just venture down here and see what's going on, because why not? And the thing is, it doesn't matter where you go, there's always something random to look at. So yeah, just thought I'd show you. I've had to put the selfie stick away. I feel not as bad just holding the phone up, but it's madness, honestly. You get to the beach, which I'm clearly at, and there's just people trying to flog your stuff constantly. There's a woman behind me, little Chinese woman selling massages. I've just seen a woman pretty much completely naked doing aerobics, and there's just people walking up and down the beach trying to sell you anything. And if I flip it round, like, see all these towels that are just sort of laid out across, you can see them laying them out, look. Like, I don't know what they're doing, but basically what they're doing from the perspective of people like me is it stops you getting on the beach. So you've got all these lucky men trying to flog the rubbish, I nearly swore then, and to do that they're blocking your route. You know, and there's people trying to sell you bottles of water on the beach for like €2 when there's a supermarket literally over there, not making it up. There it is, supermarket. And it's about 67 cents for the same bottle of water. It's just full of chances. But yeah, it's mad busy on the beach. So, I mean, I'll try and turn this way just so you can see I'm not lying. There's a lot of people knocking about. It's a very sunny day. Apparently it's going to rain tomorrow, so that makes me laugh because I'm not here tomorrow, I'm going home. But that was one of my little accomplishments. I really wanted to get to the beach, and I've done it. So, you know, that's a little tick in a box for me. So well done, Paul. And now I'm going to make my wandering down more of them skinny streets, because I can see one just in front of me. And then it'll be time for another coffee, because I finally got a coffee, I finally got a toasty, and they were quite good with me. I think they could tell I was a bit out of sorts. And then as I make my way back through the town, I'll be able to get what I need. No, I'm okay, thank you. Do you see what I mean? They just don't leave you alone. Madness. This is a sunburn check-in because I feel my head burning now. So before it was alright because it was just warm, but now I can feel like my head stored a lot of heat. It's starting to beat. Still by the docks. It's after 12 now, well after 12. And I've got a mad idea to walk to the football stadium, which is about 3.5 miles away. But there's literally, once I head down this road to the right of me, it's that road all the way to the stadium. So I'm thinking, oh, should I try it? It is looking like it might have a bit of cloud, but I'm not too sure. So I'll just have to see how far I get. But if my head starts turning into a beetroot, I'm going to have to retreat back to the hotel or some shade. You didn't ask for a sunburn update, but you've got one anyway. All right then, back in the room. It's nearly 4 o'clock. So I've been out and about since just before 9 a.m. That's quite a good time to be out, especially around maddening crowds. And the reason I'm back in the room, which is my knee. So I did have a plan to go to the stadium and go and have a look at it because I'm a big football fan. Wanted to see Barcelona stadium, that was on my list as well. More of a fan of water, got to admit, which is why I chose to go to the beach before the stadium. But I just couldn't make it. My knee has lost its tension, so for those who've ever had a torn meniscus, you'll know what I'm on about. Like you sort of have so much in your knee for the day, and once it hits its limit, your knee just starts to buckle. And it was my knee buckling in Marks and Spencer's when I was looking at chicken. You know, I nearly fell over. That's what got me to the doctors in the first place. But it's reached that point now where I feel vulnerable. You know, it's a crap word to say, but it's true. I feel vulnerable when I'm not able to defend myself because I've got a wonky wheel, so to speak. So I didn't head diagonal, which was the plan, to just get all the way to the stadium. Instead, I sort of backtracked on myself. I came back through Les Rambles, past the centre, and I got to where I got off the bus because I was curious as to where I get on the bus tomorrow to get back to the airport. And it's a good job I checked because the bus stop is like another block over around a corner. So it's like, well, why is it there? You know, why is it just not across the road like it is in England? Why are the bus stops in different places? So I found the bus stop, stood at the bus stop, watched a bus pull up that I'm going to get on tomorrow, seeing how people got on, and felt okay to walk away. You know, and I know that might sound weird, like, how don't you know how to get on a bus? It's like, I know how to get on a bus, but I just wanted to make sure, you know, like with what I've got to do with my ticket and things like that. And then I made my way towards the hotel with the plan being use the toilet, because honestly toilets in Barcelona just don't exist. Even in like restaurants or, you know, the cafes or whatever, there's just no signs anywhere, and I think they do that on purpose. So, you know, at least when you're in there, you might ask them where the bathroom is. Because usually, like in England, there's the picture of the man and the woman, isn't there? Like, that's where you need to go if you need to go for a water. But yeah, I came back, and just as I got maybe a block away from the hotel, my knee just decided to go, that's enough now, Paul. But, you know, I don't get to go and see the stadium, which is something I wanted to do. Because my knee has decided to not work. So back in the room, clearly. The plan, from the awkwardness that food has caused today, is I'm just going to go back to Popeyes, but I'm going to take my card with me instead of cash, so I don't have to speak to anyone. They can just say my name and I can collect it. I'm going to make sure I select that I want to eat inside, and then eat outside. So I don't have the pain of being stared at from the door by their staff like I was yesterday. So because I've got this awkwardness with the food, I've drawn a line in the sand with that, and I've gone, right, just go back to Popeyes or go to McDonald's, KFC, Taco Bell, wherever, somewhere you've heard of and you know how they work, because got to eat, you know, and there's no point in getting extra stressed. But I am a bit overstimulated because I've seen a hell of a lot of people today, seen a hell of a lot of different things, done a lot of walking. Came back to the room and smashed off 2 bottles of water without blinking, just threw them down my neck, so I need to go and buy another couple of bottles because I'm not using the water in the mini fridge. Don't see the point in paying that amount of money. But I'm just going to keep it low key now because, you know, it's later in the afternoon. It did start to get a bit cloudy as I was heading back, which I was thankful for because it takes the burn off my bald head. So I think what the plan will be is I'm going to go out again in maybe an hour. Or, well, I'll stand up after this, see how my knee feels, and then go and get some earlier food. Just have a little bit of a look about the north part of where I'm staying because it's quite well to do up there and it's different to where I've looked at. But I'm not going to venture too far in case my knee needs me to come back. And then I'm just going to relax because I've been overstimulated. My knee isn't happy. I don't have to be up early tomorrow, but I need to make sure I'm fresh for it. But then I'm saving a nice shower for later. And then just relax with the 2 English TV channels on the TV that's got about 85 channels. Or I'll tell you what, this hotel's got amazing Wi-Fi, so I can just stream stuff. But I'm just going to keep it chill and then see where I end up. So I don't know if I'll chip back in today. Might chip back in later, who knows. But obviously everything I'm doing, I'm going to summarise on my drive home tomorrow just to see whether any of this is worth doing anyway. Back outside, going against the words I said in the hotel. I'm going to get to that stadium. I mean, I've just walked through a really nice part of Barcelona. I just turned right out the hotel, like, because I was going to go to Popeyes, and just went a different way. And it's mad because in England, when you go to sort of a more affluent area, you see people like men wearing a shirt with a navy jumper, some light blue jeans and a pair of shoes. They do exactly the same here in Barcelona. But the road behind me is that pavement. If I just stay on that for a good mile, I get near the stadium. So I thought I'm gonna try it. I'm just gonna walk slow and I'm just gonna try and get there because I can't not see the stadium while I'm in Barcelona. And then I'll slowly walk back, treat myself to that Popeyes, and then that'll be me done then. For my trip, I'll have accomplished everything I wanted to. Getting here, seeing the sea, seeing the stadium, and eating fried chicken from America. This was a bit of a terrible idea to go to the stadium. I don't know what that statue is, by the way. Like a bunch of dogs trying to take down a stag. I'm half a mile away from the stadium and my knee's killing, but I can't turn back. I've got to hobble through and I've got to get to that stadium just to have a look at it. You know, some of the greats have played there and I just need to go and see it. And I'm just walking across the really busy sort of street, so that's all right, you know, because when you stay on the beaten path, there's less idiots to contend with. But I've got to get there, I've got to grimace and get through and fight through the pain, so wish me luck. So the question is, did I make it to the stadium? Yes, I did. So that's pretty cool. I've got to see it and there's barely anyone around, so that's even better. Happy days. All that for this. Just a bunch of construction. But like I say, some legends have played on that pitch, so it was good to see it. Tell you what though, the one thing they don't ever show you on TV when they reach a summit of something is getting back. I've got to get back on my bad knee, I've just realised that. Right then, I am showered, I'm wearing the top that I haven't really worn, I'm wearing tomorrow's boxer shorts because, like I said, freshly showered. I'm not going anywhere now, that's it, I'm in for the night. It's about 8 p.m. It was a very painful walk back from the stadium. Not only was my knee hurting, my feet were hurting, and my trainers have started to fall apart on the inside because I've walked that much. And to be fair, the trainers were knackered anyway, they really were. And I never got that Popeyes. Kept talking about it and never got it. I only had one yesterday, but I went into Popeyes, tried to use the toilet, couldn't find it. I don't know how that's possible. And then I tried to get the food on the machines, and it kept telling me to put the number of the token in the machine, and there was no tokens anywhere. It's like, what do you want? So I cancelled that and went to McDonald's instead. But I started turning into a tomato, so the light's quite low in the room, but my head is very, very red. Like, there's the normal colour of my skin, so you can see that my head is really red. And as I was walking back and as I was in McDonald's, people were staring at me because I do go very tomato head in the sun, which is another reason I hate the sun. And it doesn't matter, before you say it, it doesn't matter if I put sun cream on, I still go tomato. 14.5 miles of walk today, according to my phone. 31,250 steps. So no wonder my knee was sore, and no wonder my feet were sore too. My legs are very sore. It's crazy because I used to do 10-mile walks for fun, you know, and I can't even do, usually I can't do anything, but I really pushed myself being here and probably caused myself more damage. But hey, if it pushes me towards the operation, then I'll do more damage. And one of the great things about Barcelona is, you know, I don't feel weird anymore. There's so many nutters knocking about, and they're just people on the way to work. I'm going to assume the next time you hear from me, I'll be in my car driving home so I can wrap all this up. Okay, I am back. I'm in the car, I'm driving home, and as I said, I would recap the trip. But before I do, I'm just going to reiterate, I've not touched the phone since before I started the car, and I'm not going to touch it again until I've stopped, and then I'll just remove all the deadness that's there, because I'm being hands-free like a good boy, like you're meant to. And that's the thing, I've realised that I obey the law to the letter, and no one else does. No one. On the plane, they tell you, put your devices in airplane mode, and I'm the only fool who does it. There was a guy there working on his emails and working on all sorts, and there was no Wi-Fi on the plane. I'm thinking, how's he doing this then? You know what I mean? And then the people next to me were streaming Netflix. I just think, you know what I mean, I'm not technical that way. I don't know why we have to have it in airplane mode, but I just do as I'm told by the people who run the airline. You know, I just think, what if everybody just disobeys everything? It'd just be anarchy, wouldn't it? You know, so if it wasn't for people like me doing the right thing, you know, I suffer so these idiots can get away with it. It's not right. And there was a guy on the plane, and I've never seen this before. He had a packet of Oreos, and he was eating them like crisps. Like he was just taking one out the packet, the full biscuit in his mouth, ate it, swallowed it, and just got another one out, and he ate a full packet like you'd eat a packet of crisps. Potato chips, for those of you across the pond. I've never seen anyone do that. There was no breathing between, you know, it's not like he had one and then 20 minutes later he'd have another. He'd just had one after the other, just going for it. Never seen anyone do that. And then he got a Steam Deck out and played Zelda. Living his best life, I guess. He had grey hair as well, so it's not like it was a 14-year-old who knew no better. This guy was just going for it. Fair play to him. But anyway, so the recap. So today I got up, got myself sorted, threw my stuff in the bag, took myself to the bus stop that I looked for yesterday. Sure enough, it was still there, so that was a bonus. 5 minutes later, the bus shows up, the doors open, bus driver speaks Spanish. Didn't have a clue what he was saying, but it turned out that the card reader wasn't working, which was fine for me because I'd bought a return ticket. Scanned it, get to the airport, walk in, just see it says security control. I thought all I've got to do is keep going until someone says, no Paul, wrong. So I got to security control, and I'll tell you what, for stress levels, for anxiety levels, for autism, Barcelona airport's better than Manchester airport by a country mile. I mean, even then, when I was going through passport control here, they've got all the posters up saying, you know, we are hidden disability support, we support the sunflower. And I don't. I hate the sunflower. I hate the colour of the lanyard. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, in England there's this scheme where if you have a hidden disability, you wear this horrible green coloured lanyard that's got sunflower heads all over it. Now, I'm an old bloke. I don't want to wear a lanyard that makes me look like I'm 6. And because it's a hidden disability, I want mine to remain hidden, and if I need assistance, allow me to present myself. You know, I don't like that I've just got to walk around when I'm doing all right and tell everyone who will never need to come into contact with that I have a hidden disability. But anyway, so it's raining now. Barcelona airport, you just sort of walk up, and then right before where security are, that's when you scan your boarding pass. So you scan your boarding pass and you're right at the security point where you'd put your bag. And there was so many terminals open that everything just flowed through. There wasn't a problem at all. I left the toothpaste in the hotel, like I said I would, so I didn't have to get my bag called out. I just managed to pick it up and go. And then you go into the terminal, and it's huge. And I'm trying to think what I thought was good. That was it. On the screens, it tells you whether you're in gate A, B, C, or D. And then within those gates, there are gate numbers. And again, that's something Manchester doesn't have. Manchester, it's like, yeah, you're at gate 346. Like, you could have narrowed it down just a little bit. Oh, the rain's really coming down now. So I like that because it said that I was going from gate D. So I just went through gate D, and then there was so many of these terminals, but it sort of created branch out zones rather than everybody just congregating in the same place, which I thought was really good because, you know, it's in the main area where all the shops are, it's busy, and I don't want to be around that, you know what I mean? So it was nice to go through D and then just wait for it to say what number the gate was, and the gate ended up being 07. Then they split us up into 3 lines. So if you're boarding pass 1, boarding pass 2, boarding pass 3, you just stood in your individual lanes, and it told you on the ticket when you fly with Vueling or Vueling, as I heard a lot of English people say. And I was guilty of that until I heard it said on the internet, and then I've corrected myself since. And then they just call you in order, and it was nice and easy, and you know, it was so much easier coming back than it was going. The only difference is the flight there was smooth sailing. The flight back, I'm pretty sure I've got to go and get assessed and have an operation on my spine. That landing was so rough, and there was a lot of turbulence because of the clouds. Yeah, the only time it got bad for all of that travel from leaving the hotel, well, the hotel I had to pay another tourist tax because they only charged me for one night and then charged me for the other night on the way out. Thought that was weird. So all in all, let's wrap it up. What was I nervous about? I was nervous about, you know, surely it can't be that easy that I just go to an airport and scan a boarding pass off my phone onto a machine and doors open and it lets me in. And it was really that simple, and it was eerily simple. I didn't like how simple it was. So now I've done that, where I will scan my, you know, I'll get the boarding pass on my phone. I'll do the early check-in on my phone like I did. So the boarding passes are saved. I saved them as a picture. I saved them as a PDF. I put them in a pass wallet. So I had it 3 times on my phone, and next time I would also have a paper backup. I just didn't have time this time. And that way I know I'm absolutely locked solid with every option for the boarding pass. I know now that when I get to the gate, I have to have the boarding pass ready again, and then that's the first time I need my passport. Getting off at the other side, you've just got to go through passport control and baggage claim, but I didn't have any baggage. You don't have anywhere else to go, so it's pretty obvious how to do that. Research, my friends, is the biggest thing I've taken from this. You've got to research, and I did. I researched the backside out of going on this trip. So I was already fully aware of the trains, the trams, the bus network. I'd really paid attention, and that's another thing I suppose is important. Plans change. I had a plan going, and my plan changed. I planned to get this Hola Barcelona bus ticket so I could travel everywhere I wanted to on yesterday. It feels like a lot longer, trust me. But in the end I decided I wanted to walk. I wanted to do a lot of walking, and I did. I ended up doing 31,250 steps. It was up there anyway, and my leg knows about it today, my knee knows about it today. My leg went numb yesterday, like last night as well. It was getting scary. But honestly, the research was everything. It really helped. So I got to, before I was going, when people are looking at, should I go and look at the cathedral? Should I go and look at this? Should I visit here? I was looking where the public bathrooms were. I was looking for the not safest routes to walk, but the routes with least resistance, because I didn't want to, before I went, I didn't want to go down the tourist traps. I did not want to go down Las Ramblas. I did not want to go where everybody else goes, but then when I was there, I did. But it wasn't because I wanted to do what all the tourists wanted to do. It helped me to blend in. I think I said it last night in a video, but I became very self-aware. I just paid a lot more attention to me because I wasn't used to my surroundings, and I obviously had to make sure I was all right because I was the only one there who could. But the preparation, the research was so worth it, because I watched a video of how to leave, because I learned I was going to Terminal 1, so I researched I watched a video how to leave arrivals and how to get to the Aerobus, which was the bus I wanted to get. I watched a video on how to use the terminal to buy the ticket. I really put the time and effort in, and I am so glad I did, because it took all the worry out of it, because it was like, this is obviously what putting in the hard work does. It does pay off. Just wish I could do the same with not eating chocolate, but I even ate a Crunch bar last night. Just can't stop doing it. But honestly, research didn't allay the anxiety I had before I went, but it really did whilst I was there. Really did. I had to prepare for the unexpected. I did not realise that I was going to be fearful of going to buy food. I honestly thought buying food there would have been just as easy as it can be buying food here, but it just wasn't. And it wasn't just the language barrier. I was just so not prepared for the places where you eat. I'd watched this video about scams by this American guy, and it was a good video. He said in the video, make sure you always see a price on a menu, because otherwise, they'll rip you off. And what I learned while I was there is they might put a price on something, but they don't put a price on everything. So you could be there and you might look at a breakfast for €8, but then they charge €6 for a coffee because that's what they don't put the price on. And it's like, no, that's too cheeky, sunshine. I'm not buying your food. Not having your coffee either. So it was quite tricky, because some places it was like, yeah, we do breakfast, but you can have a pizza if you want, you can have beer if you want. So because in my head that's not a breakfast place, I didn't know if I was going in there to get some breakfast, and in my head, I also thought I'd sit outside and have a coffee, or even if I was going to eat a croissant, or like I say, the dry cheese and ham sandwiches that they do, that they seem to be proud of. But I couldn't sit outside because everybody smokes. Everybody. It's like, it's rare to not see someone smoking in Barcelona. Like I say, it's much more liberal, it's much more free, everybody just seems to do whatever they want. So that sort of scuppered the plan, because in my head I was going to sit outside, because that took away a bit of the awkwardness about where I was. So that, you know, I did overcome that obviously by going to get fast food, and yeah, you know, that's where it kind of goes against the grain. You don't go to Spain to eat McDonald's, but I did. And I think that's something else I realised while I was there, and I think this is a big one as well, is it doesn't matter what everybody else wants to do. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing, and it doesn't matter why everybody else is there. If you want to go back to your room at 6 p.m. and not go out again, that's your choice, and that's all right. You know, if you've had your fill of your day, then you've had your fill. You don't have to fill every minute of being outside and doing something because that's what everybody else does, because what's the point in going otherwise? Don't worry about it. You know, that you go for a reason, I went for a reason, I prefer my reason to your reason, so let's not argue about it. You know, you don't have to go and see what everybody else is going for what they want to see. You do whatever you want. If you just wanted to go buy an ice cream and then go back to your room for the next 5 days and do nothing else and fly back, do it, because that's what will get you there, rather than the fear of having to do everything that everybody else wants. You don't have to tell people you're going. I told no one I was going. I'm less anxious now than I was when I went. A lot of my anxieties were about things that never happened, and that's always the case with my anxieties. They're always worse than the reality of what's going on. All my fears were about the unknown, because I researched the crap out of everything else. So the baggage, or the security control, things like that. Now I know. Now I know that it really does just take an online check-in. You really do just go through passport control if all you've got is a backpack. You really do just get on a bus, you know. And the thing is, my hotel U232, I would strongly recommend. They didn't do anything for me, you know, I didn't speak to them apart from checking in and checking out. But the room was good, the air conditioning was perfect. It was just my fault for being an idiot and not figuring it out. It was very good for sound. Like, as in, I couldn't hear anything. The only thing I heard this morning was someone in the room next to me just fancied going in and out of their door about 30 times for no reason. So that was a bit annoying. Just as this is as well, I'm just coming up to a traffic jam. That's annoying. Didn't want to hit that. But yeah, the anxieties on the way back, thinking about the anxieties before, a lot of them were unjustified. Research helped so much, and I did a lot. I got hyperfixated on the research. Honestly, I really could draw you the transport network of Barcelona. And I think I'm feeling it. I think I'm feeling this little escapism. Like yesterday, I honestly felt like I had an entire day to figure out what on earth I was doing. You know, like, what am I going to do with myself all day? And then the day got filled up, and I burnt my head. Fine. Lesson learned. You know, for the lesson learned, I'll take some sun cream. I will not take toothpaste in my backpack. I'll buy some when I'm there. I packed just the right amount of clothes. I'd probably next time take a pair of shorts to sleep in. But no, as for solo travel and autism, if you put in the time, energy and effort to research it, you'll do well. And I wouldn't recommend the idea of doing solo travel be the thing that puts you off. Try it and see and find what puts you off. Because for me, you know, the plane was fine, It was the people. You know, I made sure I had earphones because there was always going to be a baby on the plane, crying, screaming. There was always going to be the disrespectful people not turning the Wi-Fi off when they're told to turn it off. Turn your data off. You're told to, you know. I mean, I don't know if we could crash because of it, but I don't want to take that chance, you know what I mean? Everyone's standing up when the plane stops. It's like, just chill. You're going to get off the plane. So for me, I was getting really annoyed at people. Really annoyed at people. They were causing me the stress, but Barcelona didn't cause me the stress. The flight didn't cause me the stress. The journey to and from the airport didn't cause me the stress. I mean, I'm sat in a traffic jam now. They don't cause me stress because it's not my fault. And someone could be dead at the other end of this. You know what I mean? You gotta have a bit of respect. But any questions, my friends, I will be happy to answer, because I know I won't have answered a million things, but I really did just want to take a trip, solo trip, with my autism at the forefront and see what bothered me the most. And I found some things that bother me at home don't bother me there, such as crowds, because I became more self-aware. I only had me to look after, and I could easily retreat whenever I wanted to. Whereas at home, crowds bother me a hell of a lot more. But at home, crowds are tied to more like social events, and you have to consider the feelings of other people who you know when you're in a crowd, because you might be there with friends or family, whereas I was on my own. I can do whatever I want. So I found that didn't affect me. But honestly, you know, I've done this, obviously not for an individual, but I've done it for a collection. I've done it for a reason. I've done it for the channel. Any questions at all, send them me. I will do this again. I am going to do solo travel again. I did actually enjoy it, which I didn't think had happened. So if you ask your questions, you can email them if you don't want to put them in the comments. I always try and answer. The only time I don't answer is when YouTube does not let me know someone's commented, because I've just responded to someone who like sent a message about 8 months ago, and I feel terrible. It's not my fault. But I don't want you to not do something through anxiety like this, because it causes no pain. And Barcelona was just interesting for other reasons that nobody else would find interesting. Like I said, I was interested in skinny streets. Who else is bothered about that? But anyway, if you've got questions, please let me know and I will answer, and I will try and incorporate them the next time I do this. But honestly, I want to help you out if it's something you've got an interest in, or something you've thought about forever and you've just never pulled the trigger on it. All right. Anyway, 26-minute video for me just waffling. Thanks for keeping me company on my drive home. And I will love you and leave you. I hope it's been all right, because it's obviously been a choppy video and here, there and everywhere. Done off my phone. I bought a microphone, little lapel microphone for it. So I've tried to make it okay, but I don't know what I'm doing, guys and girls and everyone else. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep smiling.